Good morning, hello, and happy Tuesday. We're finished, sort of, kind of, almost with the bookstore API scenario. Esitsu, hello, good morning, and Seneko, hello, good morning. How are both of you doing? Sylvia, you want to jump up here? No? He's right below. Oh no, maybe I can get him with cat cam. So let's see. We finished with the main part of the API. Oh, okay. Great. You found the motivation to start writing some projects again. Oh, awesome. That's always nice and good. And you're working on a side project. Nice. Side projects are good. I think they're some of the best ways to work on alternative technologies that your work or school won't necessarily teach you. Because it's easy to have like work or school help you like learn the things that they're having you work on. But if you want to learn some new technology, that's pretty much on our own. They're not really going to like teach us to do something that's not relevant, if that makes sense. Oh, you think you were hesitant because you were overwhelmed by having 20 plus crates that you needed to release? As in like open source, like create crates out on crates.io. I have found that nobody cares about the crates that I release. So therefore I just release them. So I guess like I've just like it doesn't bother me anymore because discoverability is a thing and I don't advertise it and I don't really like if somebody was like, hey, I really want this to become like a big like a decent project, I'm like, absolutely, let's work on this. But until then I'm just gonna make it for myself and I'm just using it's open source because that makes it free. All right, so we finished the tests yesterday. We want to update. I wanted to update and sort of like redo this. That way, it would be. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that I think is not necessarily great as an assessment type project. I think it's a little bit too reliant upon various types that I've created, and will be hard to complete and sort of figure out. So I thought about a little bit about this yesterday, and I think what I can do is I can create some models in here, sort of like generic models. And if I do that and I create some like DB query signatures and the routes, but like nothing really happens in a route. Like basically I put to-dos in like the various areas, then it could be more generic. I mean, to be honest, I might be able to get not even have the routes. We just have the models here. You're starting with a tool to manage your release workflow, but there's a cyclic dependency on your GitHub REST API client. So like basically, yeah, the spaghetti dependency cycle. it's that's those are great. We're like, okay, I want to start working on this one. Oh, right, I need to work on this one instead. Oh yeah, let's work on this one, and then you eventually keep on going out until you find like a knot of like, okay, well you're like, we got like 4 circular dependencies. Let's do them all at the same time. For me, like, it doesn't really bother me too much when I run into that. What hits me the most is because I don't have like that much time to work on these projects. Basically, right now I only have the live stream. Remembering what I do from day to day is the hardest. I have some ideas for like how to help out, but the best I have right now is just to leave things in a broken state. Oh, nice. Okay. So yeah, you can basically just, well, that's one nice thing about compiled projects is that you don't have to recompile them until you're ready to use. All right. For this, let's put this in check. So do this right here. Oh, you didn't open up into this area. Okay, fine. Go to code, builds. Okay, so I'm on branch main. I've been keeping that up to date. Let's switch to a new branch, which I'm going to call refactor, rewrite. I guess it's a rewrite. I'm just going to call it rewrite. And we're going to start with the models. So far in models, we have book, which this is pretty close. Okay, so we have a book has an ID, a name, a price, in stock, and authors, which is then a vec of authors. They're all option here, and that's for a reason. An author just has a name. Wait, no, an author here just has an, okay, has an ID and a name. And then a book author I'm not, do we need book author in this case then? We kind of do. If I want to create an association, I need to send in the book author, don't I? Which is going to be both. Send in both the author ID and the book ID. Oh, my. Ranger, are you? Oh, weird. Okay. So every once in a while it's not rendering properly. I wonder if that's a Zealage problem or an Alacrity problem or a combination. Okay, so we have book author, and then so I didn't like the response object. I don't think that was really helpful. Or if we do have a response object, I think we'd have to have something like an error response and a, yeah, I'd probably want like 2 different ones. Like one is an error response, one is a like normal response. But the other problem is that I have to then handle with these. I have to deal with the generics here, which is fun. I don't think this should go into models anyways. This would go into router. Yeah, maybe two of them would be good. Okay, so starting with author. Okay, so we have an author, you have an ID, you have a name, and you have books. With this author, we can make you be options for all of you. Kikma, hello. Imagine you have a SQL table with fields, ID, and name. You write a route for getting table rows, then you add possibility to choose columns to get. Like give me only ID or name. In this case, does Rust type must look like this? Struct table row ID option option I64 or I32, name option string. I mean, all our fields must be option or not. Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's one of the reasons why we have to have options here, is because what if we don't want to get that stuff? The other thing is, if I'm passing something in and I'm doing like an update and it's not atomic update, then, you know, I'm only passing in one of the things. So that's something to consider too. That being said, if when using C or M, I get back their own type, which is an entity, and it comes back with just what I... Does it come back with... No, it comes back with a full entity, and so therefore it has options already in it for me. And it does that through the magic of macros and figures those out. But if you're using something else, yeah, you'll probably need options in there. I haven't used SQLX yet, so I'm not familiar with what it returns. Without an ORM, just an enum or string might be a solution. Just like a serialized string, you mean? Like serialize it into JSON string, and then you can send that along. Yeah, that could work. I mean, if you want to do anything to the data before you send it off, you have to deserialize it. Which then again, because you're not sure if it has that or not, will be options. Because when we're working with a compiled language, we have to essentially write our code to handle what's going to happen at runtime, and we don't necessarily know what's going to happen at runtime. So if we have different queries that could happen, we could say like, well, with this query, we're going to get this thing. With this query, we're going to get this thing. With this query, we're going to get this stuff. But we don't know which one the user is going to use. This global author allows me to use this everywhere. So let's see. I don't necessarily think that I want this. And then I could bring in an author model. So let's do this as author's model as author model. Ooh, is there a way to do a from? For both these? That would be nice. Then it can turn back into like the global author. Oh, and you know what? I had something in here for this, didn't I? Here it is. See, an author, oh, no. An author just has a ID and a name. That's all we really care about. But then it has books that we get through the book authors. So that's where we can, the author will have this when I return this, or at least how to see this. So if I'm creating an author, when I'm grabbing from author's model, which is interesting. Do I have access to the books from that? Ooh, I don't think that there's... I don't think I can do that. I don't think it knows that I have the books at this point in time. There is an annotation for Serde to not deserialize none into JSON null. It just ignores fields like it didn't exist. If yes, I don't remember what that one is. And then on the other side is that you can do double option, and then it will actually show in with like a null. Senorita, hello. I want to build a responsive website. Should I start with building it for mobile and then PC? Or should I start building it for large screens and then small screens? So yeah, what Asitsu is saying is a common pattern that people do, which is something called mobile first, which is you design. It's actually, it's weird. It stands for two different methods that end up being the same, which is first you could design it for mobile first to figure out like all the data that you can figure out there, and then design it for desktop. And then building it, you can build mobile first and then use breakpoints or anything else for the rest of it. If you're using some kind of CSS framework, though, that often is set up for you and you don't have to worry about it. So in the end, it doesn't matter too much. I do find that if you are supporting mobile and you keep that in mind the entire time, and you at least test it at the same time that you're building for desktop, then that'll help when you find like, ooh, hey, half this stuff doesn't show, or I can't see it. So I don't know if I have like a strong opinion on it anymore. Okay, so Isitsu, you found that because you're using breakpoints and other stuff. So yeah, if you're not using like a framework, like let's say Bootstrap comes with like a lot of the grid framework type stuff for you. So if you're using some framework that does it all for you and you don't have to set breakpoints, then it probably doesn't matter. But if you have to start pulling those out, probably mobile first is the way to go. So I agree with you there, Asitsu. I'm going to go ahead and remove that for a second because I don't know exactly what I want to do with this. You're using Tailwind CSS, but it's hard to convert the site to mobile from computer. I haven't used like Tailwind in a serious capacity yet. Like I've set it up, I've done some like playing around with it, but I've never like built a full site with it. And I definitely haven't tried mobile support with it. Are you using free Tailwind or the paid Tailwind? Because if I remember correctly, the paid Tailwind comes with a ton more features. And maybe there's mobile support in there. And free Tailwind comes with sort of like a very basic, bare bones sort of setup for you that you can like extend and write yourself. Yeah, it's something. So when I was evaluating Tailwind for my day job company, because we had an option. We wanted to create our own component library, and Tailwind was one of the things that we were looking at. And there's the let's actually just go take a look at it. You don't think you're compatible with Tailwind? So where is it? It's oh, that's lovely. Dark Reader is wow. How did they break it that? Yeah, so you can get it comes with like a large number of components and templates and other things if you want. You have to pay for that. So it's $300 for individuals. But if you're a company, it's $800. And that was a lot harder for us too. It's $800 for 25 developers. Which is, I mean, it's not bad. And it comes with some really, like, we were looking at the components that we wanted that to Tailwind to sort of like support for us. And all of the ones that we wanted were in the paid section, which sucks. However, you do get a lot of really cool stuff. So then we looked at the free version of like what you get with Tailwind, and we ended up like realizing that we would need to customize it so much for exactly what we wanted that we would probably like there's no real benefit to using it over just creating our own SaaS like files and just like pulling that into our projects. And so I ended up creating a project on not npm. We're using GitHub packages, and we created a basically just a component library. We're using Vue, So I'm just we create a component library in Vue. We use Sass as like a one-time, like pull in this CSS for your project, and then everything else is embedded inside of those components. So it's like, okay, you want like a header component here, pull this in. As long as you have like the global CSS and you have this, you're good to go. And that ended up being it's surprisingly easy to set up, and it's every time that we want to make a change to like some design thing, we change it in there, and then we just go update the projects, and bam, all their UI is updated. Yeah, so it's not bad, but we're at a startup, and it's hard for me to convince people to spend money on us. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that there is a paid aspect to Tailwind if you want to get components. Otherwise, what you're getting with Tailwind is a very bare bones Sass like system. Like all you're really getting is just some Sass files. And like I guess some guides of like here's how to create a component library, a CSS component library. What I would like to do is create a component library that requires no global CSS, and everything is included, like all the CSS that you want is in the components themselves. And then you don't need to like pull anything in. And if I could compile those components to web components, like actual web components, that would be amazing. So imagine, if you will, I use U or I use Leptos or something else, and then I can compile each component to WebAssembly. Each one has its own CSS completely inside. Then it literally doesn't need to know anything about the like what I'm using. I could then share that component with every team, and I've written that in Rust, but they're using Vue, they're using React, they're using Angular, they're using native. It doesn't matter. It just shows up. SHA CDN. I haven't used that. So you should make it responsive with mobile, but you don't know how to do that. It looks so hard. Are you familiar with? Okay, so what system are you using? Check it out. SHA CDN UI. Okay, hold on. Let me Google search for that. SHA CDN. Radix UI? I mean, yeah, this looks pretty good. Reusable components using Radix UI and Tailwind CSS. It's not a component library. It's a collection of reusable components that you can copy and paste into your app. Which means what exactly? Does that mean they're just the CSS components, not anything else? No, this includes JavaScript components. With class names that looks like React. Yeah, senoritas. Breakpoints is the way to go. Are you using senoritas? Are you using any? Are you using like a framework? You said you're using Tailwind. Tailwind comes with. Doesn't Tailwind come with some breakpoints classes? No. Does it not? I guess it doesn't have that. Okay. You know the breakpoints of Tailwind CSS like large, small, medium, but it still looks hard because he built everything for large screens and didn't even think for a second about mobile like a stupid. Ah, okay. Yeah, that can be a thing. So in there's this idea in development called supple design, which comes from domain driven design, but it's its own thing really. And it's the mindset that when you reach a point where you run into like any kind of like trouble, any pain points. So you have a major pain point right now. Trying to force things to work or like continuing to build on something that you know is no longer a good base, a good foundation, leads to even greater pain in the future or a less quality experience. Then if you just refactor / rewrite now, knowing now what you'll do, you end up making it faster, it'll be better, and you'll be happier with the end result. So unfortunately, the answer is to maybe redo some of it, hopefully not everything, but to go back and like say, okay, time to change these now, because if you change them now, you'll be ready to go. If you don't change them now, you'll now be a full project in and have to do hopefully not everything over again. Also, good morning, Demolroy. How are you doing today? The other thing you can do, and this is not necessarily a good idea, but something you can do is you could just retroactively declare that mobile users aren't your target audience, and then they don't get a good experience. That being said, try looking at your site in mobile first before doing anything and seeing whether or not the browser just handles it. This is something that I think is surprising for a lot of developers, but Apple and Google spend a lot of time making their browsers work in mobile for non-mobile design sites. As in, okay, you show up the site here. Okay, let me just like, I want to zoom in on this area, and you like double tap on it, and it just zooms right into that div, and everything just sort of works and sets up for it. It's like, oh, that's actually really nice. So sometimes things just work out. And then also, you're familiar, Senoritas, you're familiar with the dev tools that allow you to mimic mobile, right? Like here's what this looks like in mobile. I'm using Mozilla. Can I do custom? I can set up a custom user agent, but I think it's still gonna be Firefox that it's looking for. And then what you could do is you could do this also in Chrome or Chromium to sort of see if it's looking good there too. And then I think Safari, if you have a Mac, I'm actually curious about this. Safari does have dev tools. I just so very rarely use them. Develop enter responsive mode. I'm kind of surprised I can't do that from here. Enter responsive design mode. Oh, there, look at that. Okay, so if you have, thank you, Asitsu, for that. If you have Safari, so if you have a Mac, you could then simulate all of the Mac phones, tablets, computers, anything in here. So we can say, okay, this is an iPhone 8 in vertical mode. Oh, with the different browsers that you can use on the phone. Oh, that's nice. I'm surprised this isn't touch. Can I set up touch for this too? Or is this just what it looks like? Oh, I can customize the size and all that. At the very least, it shows you what it's going to look like, which should help out. Can I do pausing here? I can do. Oh yeah, so in Safari, I haven't seen that you can do this in Firefox. Maybe you can in developer mode, but in Safari here, I can right click on one of these elements here, and I can do break on, and subtree modified, attribute modified, or node removed. And that way, when things like change around, you can sort of see that happen. So if you're like losing items when you're going to mobile, that should trigger. And it's basically like breakpoints for HTML as opposed to breakpoints for JavaScript, which is super nice. I haven't tried it yet, but I just watched a talk on browser dev tools, and they've done a lot in the last few years. It's really cool. see, can I do that here? Oh yeah, absolutely. I can do break on. So if like anything changes in the body, I can have it break on, like something happened. Nice. All right, let's come back to here. So we have our book. Our book has an ID, name, price, in stock, authors, which then is a vector of the author. So that's fine. Your biggest issue with the Safari DevTools as adding custom styles directly to an element sometimes breaks completely. Yeah. Oh, I haven't used. I barely use them. I think I mostly use them in order to get console logs and other stuff, and errors if that happens. So I haven't even looked. I remember back not too long ago they didn't even have DevTools, or it like was really basic DevTools, and then I just stopped paying attention to them. It looks like they're trying to be competitive at least. Okay, so let's not do the froms there. Okay, and then book author. It's going to be these two, and we'll get rid of you two. So I was thinking, if I don't implement those froms, then, or rather, I could implement those froms in my code, in my solution, but I would remove them in order to allow you to pretty much like use any technology you want. If I remove everything in CORM and I only have that in my solution, then this assessment could actually work for any database technology, which is sort of what I want to go for. And then mod. Okay, so I don't think I want this response object. Certainly I don't want it in here. That's going to break everything. Okay, so those are our major models. And then we have in the database, okay, so if I want to CRUD, things, so we have authors and books, and then both, right? So let's see, author queries, book author queries. Oh, so these are like both of these together. I could keep the database folder, and then we have each of these here for, which then, okay, so that makes sense. Let's come into here. And I almost want to restart with this because I think this is going to be a pain to just refactor. I almost want to do this and say, okay, we're restarting. Let's see what functions we want to do here. I would want we want CRUD for this, right? So if I want to create an author, so insert author, we'll create the signatures to begin with. So create read, so that's okay, so that would give me that for you. For book author, let's see, creates. This would be, the crate is actually just associate book with author. I don't ever need to update for this. I think I just need to be able to create the association and remove association. And that's that. And then we'll do the same thing with books. So we have create, so keep on hitting that instead of underscore. My muscle memory today isn't doing too well. Okay, and that gives me all of those. And then my mod here is just, that's just doing my connect. So I can easily connect into the database, which is fine. Okay, so I think I can write these now using the models, and I don't have to worry about everything else failing right this second, because that's all in the router stuff. And then once I have these written, we can then update the router. So my theory and idea is that in the models, we have our sort of like the mega global root model. So that's like, this is what an author is. It's something that has an ID, maybe. If this has the ID, has the name, it has books, maybe. But when it's coming in to create the database, so I want to do that create one first, right? So I can create little subtypes here. So I can do pub struct, maybe like create author. This is going to have, when I create an author, I don't have an ID. All I have is a name, which is a string. And that's it. That's all I get. Don't even know if I need default for that. And so I could then do a try into from author. So impl try into, no, not try from, it's try from. Try. I was thinking like, why is this weird? I want to do author. That feels like weird. Because that will give us try into if I do try from. Okay, so try from author for create author. And I have an error. So something else that I've been playing around with is the error types with like handling different error types. I think what we can do is have create like an error type in this, like an error type for the author model essentially. So if I use this error, which I don't think we have this error, don't we? I do not have this error. Okay, so we can have a pub enum, and this is like an author error. All right, I want to derive. I don't know if I need to serialize and deserialize this. I need error. I need this error, and I need debug. And I think that's all I need for this. Then we can have the various errors in here. So I could now say, okay, I want to, if I'm creating a create author from author, I need to have name. Like I absolutely need to have the name. So we could have something like missing author, like missing author field. This takes in something that impl, like it could be a stir. Okay, so it's a stir. Then I do, I think it's error. And then I could put a message in here. So I want, the message would be error. This could potentially be an error that's good for users, for the end user. So error converting, so error, I guess, cannot complete or whatever, like missing field 0. Does that work? Oh, and type error would then be this author error. All right, I think that's working so far. So now we can say, when I do try from, I need to get that name. And if I don't, we're going to create that specific error. So try from, the only thing I need is the name. So let and if I don't have that, I want to do an early return of an error with author error, missing author field, and this will be name. Okay, so then from this, I'm gonna go back in here. So insert author. We know, okay, we need to take in the DB. So we know we need that. So this is our database connection. And we need a author, which is gonna be that insert author, create author. And if I'm inserting the author, I probably want to return the full author. So this is a pattern that I've been playing around with recently, which is I take in a very specific subtype of author, but I return the full type of author. The one with all the options. I'm not sure if this is like what the full negatives of it are. I need to play around with it a little bit more. But so far in this project, and sort of like a side one that I've been going back and forth on, just like rewriting over and over and over again to try to get the best architecture that I could find. So far, I've been happy with it. And this is the most recent sort of like iteration of that. Zilby, hi. Well, I wonder if I can wrap the camera around here. You can almost, I mean, he's facing away still. Okay, so if I do an insert author at this point, let's see, it'll be our, want to use entity authors entity as or entity. I want to create the Oh Oh, but I don't want author. I want the active author, don't I? I wonder if I want something like this. Just pull in authors. And I can do authors. Active model. Let's create the default one. Then I want to add in. I want to add the author stuff to the new author. I know exactly what's in here. So we can do new author dot not ID, so just name equals, we're gonna set, which of course you don't know what that is. And that's going to be, I think that's just a string. So that's then going to be the author dot name. You're gonna have to be a result. Okay, so set author.name. Oh, you need to be public. So you go into author. Okay, so I can set you. I then want to save you. And we're going to get back the author. So this is now going to be let created author. Okay, we're going to save into the DB. Wait, we can question mark you. Okay, so created author. We now have, this is the active model again. And so I want to turn this into, the active model has like the sets and all that other stuff. So I want to turn this into the model. So I have to do a try into the model, which should work. I don't see why this should ever fail, but I think I can question mark you. And so I guess the other question is, do I really want, I could return this as the model, but I think I like the idea of I return the author. So now I want to take this created author and create this from here. So impl from, so I'm going to do that as trick. Use entity authors model. All right, so from this, I want to create, so now I should be able to create the ID, right? I mean, the ID should definitely exist. Oh, and these need to be sums. And because I just created the author, there's no way the author has any books yet. So I can just do books as a none. I could even do books as a sum empty vector. That might be better. Huh. Multiple applicable items in scope here? All right, so then I create the model, and then I want to do another into on this, and I want to then return okay created author. Disambiguate the associated function for candidate 1. Entity author's active model as standard default. Huh. Oh, interesting. So like literally choose. Oh, weird. Okay, well, if that makes it happy. And so that creates us an author. And I don't need anything back from that. So there's that. Okay, get author by ID. We're gonna have our DB. We're gonna have an ID, which is an I32. I want to return a single, so we'll do a result. But we might not find them, then it's also an option. Author. I should do some git commits while I'm as I'm building these. So this is rewrote okay, get author by ID. All right, we're gonna get the DB author. So I guess this was, let's do author. Equals. I want the entity. So create model author. I want to find by ID, get the ID. Find with related, so it gets the books with the author. I need to tell it the entity that's coming in. I use entity books. Yes. Books entity. Okay, so find with related there. I can't do one, unfortunately, so we have to do all. Wait and question mark you. Okay, so that gives me a vec of model. Okay, so a vec of author and that one. So okay, so we have potential authors. I mean, this is really like authors with books. If there's nothing here, so if the vector is empty, we didn't find the author. So I'm going to return okay with a none. Which means we did find one, which means they want the first. Oh, but I could just grab the first, couldn't I? Hold on. What we could do is let author with books. We grab the first. Oh, this is going to be a sum. Okay, so if you're a none, I want to return okay. None. Okay, so now I have author with books. Is that an extra space after here? It is. What's bothering me? Okay, so now I have an author with its books. I want to now create the author from that. So which I essentially want to do an into using this. And so this is a book model, and this is a this is an author model, and this is a book model. So from this one, so I want to do another one here. So we're going to do impl. Do I own that? I don't own this. So I have references to them. Is there like a take first? I don't see like a take. Okay. It's fine. I'll just do this as an impulse. So this is a tuple of author model and then book model. So I have author model up here, and I want a book model too. Okay, so this is going to be a from a reference of an author model and then a vec of book model. I can change this signature, right? I can destructure you into we have an author, DB author, DB books. Okay, great so far. To create the books, okay, so I want an into for the books now, and that takes a model of book. So let's actually go. I need to take ownership at some point. Ooh, this is a reference, isn't it? So I'm actually taking from a reference of this. So ID is copy type. Name is a string, so I need to clone you. That's copy type. And then authors. I don't necessarily. Do I have the other authors? I might. Am I gonna create a circular reference here? Where it's like keeps on doing from. That would be hilarious and really not great. Let's do a sum and empty vector for right this second. Oh, in stock. So I should be able to do an into for each specific book now. Okay, so if I return a self, we're gonna have an ID is gonna be a sum DB author ID. That's copy type. We have a name, which is a sum DB author name, and we have to clone you. What did I do? Oh, I hit page down. Books. I want to do a sum. Okay, so I want, let's do let books equals, we're going to do DB books. So if I do that, just want you in there. You know what type you are now. Okay, so DB books, I want to map through these and into them. So we're gonna do, I have to do an iter. And then we're gonna map. So we into, and we collect. A value type vec models book cannot be built from iterator over elements of type reference to model. I thought you'd work for that. So I have a reference here. Did I not save that? I did save that. Let's see. Oh, it's trying to turn into an option. Right. Okay, hold on. Oops. I want this to be a sum books. Then it figures out what it's supposed to be. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Okay, so I'm a little bit concerned about the books though. So I'm curious, but unfortunately won't be able to run this for a while. I'm a little bit concerned we're gonna get an infinite loop. And it's almost like I want to say that when I get the author, okay, we're gonna get that thing. All right, well, we're gonna have to see how having this nested. I might have to have this be separated out into a different struct. So that way I get the one thing and then I return like all the books that it has to. I mean, I guess that kind of can work, but I don't like it. All right, so that gives us the books coming in from here. The book unfortunately has no authors. If I did put this in here as an author, I think I would create an infinite loop. Is that true? No, it'd be from it'd be a different impl now, wouldn't it? It would be coming in from this author model. Oh, with no books. Then in that case, maybe I want to change this to be a none. Okay, so if I do authors, that, okay, so you're gonna be a book. Do value. Scott, hello. Good morning. Thanks for the help the other day. You got it going. Okay, so you basically got the result and option sort of understanding going. Gotten to the point where you look at the borrow checker as an aid, not an aggravation. Nice. But now you have another question. Is there any crate that would allow you to put background music on an application? So, I need a little bit more information for this. What kind of application is this? Is this like running in a web page, like in a browser, or is it like a desktop application? A desktop TUI app. Okay, so what you need to do is tell the operating system to play some music, and I've not done that myself before. I've only done like browser based sound things, so I'm not necessarily got good knowledge of that. I mean, I can make it do like little beeps, like beeps and tones, but that's not what you want. Is there a way to like set up and start like VLS or something like that from the terminal? You want like Zelda music. Well, okay. So it must work, because when I was doing some game dev and I was using GGEZ, I was able to play audio files. So those aren't full songs, but I don't see how it would be different. Like if I would just load up a song into memory and hand it to the player and then it would work. So I don't know any crate. I don't know which crates you'd use, but I do know it's possible. And so what you might have to do is go find some like a TUI frameworks or something that have that as a feature. Search inside of it to find what it's doing, like what crates they're using for it, and then just use that yourself. And we could also just search for it. Was it live.rs? That's what it is. A search for sounds. I mean, so the problem, okay, so there's ALSA. Oh, right. I remember now. So I had to basically set up ALSA stuff for GGEZ when I was on Linux. If you're on Mac, it's a different thing, and if you're on Windows, it's a completely different thing altogether. And that's the reason why frameworks are so nice for this, is because they generally set up all three. Who are you compiling for? Linux, Windows, Mac, all three? Linux right now would like all three. Okay. So there's a way. Okay, so these are the dependencies. There's a way in Rust, I don't know if you've looked into it yet, to dynamically choose which, at compile time, dynamically choose which code gets added into the code. So you can basically say, okay, if I'm on Linux operating system, I want to run this code. And so that would then, they would probably just load up a different module of the same name with the same interface to it that would then play the music for stuff in Linux. Maybe use like this ALSA, for example. And then if you're on Windows, you compile for Windows, it then says, oh, okay, I'm here on this one, I'll use this other module instead. How does vocal or term music do it? I'll look at the source. Okay, so is that a Rust project? They're not using ALSA in here. Well, unless the dependencies aren't showing the optional purchases, optional downloads. How do I go to the documentation? Where's that? Superstay. Hello. Oh, vocal. Okay, so Rodeo. So Rodeo uses that. Which then uses CPAL. Which then, okay, here, it uses ALSA if you're using Linux or FreeBSD. It uses Core Foundation Sys if you're using Mac. And if you're using Windows, it uses the Win30. Oh, it uses a ton of Win32. I guess these are libraries for DLLs. This one might be it. Cross-platform audio library. Okay, I think this is what you want. No, they'll be turned around. Camera reposition time. So that might just work for you. That might also give you all three major platforms too to run audio on. So, oh, maybe Rodeo for something higher level. Yeah, maybe Rodeo is nicer too. Let's see, Rodeo. This is Rodeo. So if that's using audio playback library. Ooh, yeah, maybe this one. Oh, yeah, this is probably better. This is probably much better. Because this will handle all these different file types and give that to you. Okay, so try Rodeo instead. Maybe start here. And that might make it even easier for you to get sound going in your apps. Maybe we can try this sometime. Make a soundboard, like a 2E soundboard or something. If I'm coming from a book model, I don't have any authors. There's just no way for me to have authors. This has to be a none. Oh, and Superstay, you suggested term music and use it on Termux. Is that? Oh, the search goes away when I'm in here? That's too bad. Oh, you're confirming it was a Rust project. Okay. Huh, I don't see it in here. So is it? Oh yeah, that's fine. I forgot if I asked if I said good morning. So if I didn't, good morning. How are you doing today? Okay, so if I've got that, now an author, this shouldn't create a circular reference anymore, or at all. I now get the books in here. The books won't have any authors associated with them. I won't be able to see that. That's a little bit unfortunate. I could potentially do something. Oh, term music is a project, not a crate. Okay, so it would potentially create some crates from the project, but they would be named different things. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so we got that. And that allows us to now get the author by ID. So I have the author with the books. I want to return that author. So I want to do an OK sum. So in this case, oh, author with books. Okay, so I want to do an author with books into. And that gives me an author with the books, and that's it. Don't worry about it. I'm as regulars here can tell you, I am very easy to confuse. I confuse myself all the time too. Okay, so that makes you happy. All right, so next up, so we created get author by ID route. All right, next up, get all the authors. So we'll take in the DB. We don't need to take anything else in. We're gonna return a result with a vec of authors. So we'll do authors equals our author entity. We want to find all, find with related. Related is going to be the book entity. Give me all of them, DB await. Okay, so why are you upset? Yeah, you return a result. Oh, this should be author. That's why you're upset. Okay, so now I have the authors, which is a vec of each of these. So I want to loop through all of these, which I could do here. Okay, so now that I have a vec of this tuple, I can now, we're going to iter through these. And I can into. So I want to collect you into a vec of author. Once I have that, we could then just do okay, authors. Okay, so far so good. Update author. So I want a different type. I want the update author. Well, we know we want to take in a I know I want to take in a an ID here. So if I do, we have our database, we have our author ID, which is an I32, but then I want the author to update. So this is going to be an update author that's going to be in here. So I have a create author and update author. So a create author is really going to be the same. Well, no, I want an update author. An update author, I want it without the ID and without the books. So it's going to be, but I want the name to be an option. And there's really only one thing we can change here. I'm still going to create a different struct for this, even though it's very, 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 very similar to this. I'm just gonna okay, so this is gonna be an update author. We're gonna take in the name of what we want this name to be. So this will be an atomic put. So maybe I should rename this to be atomic. Ooh, I did not want to do that. Okay, so I want just that. Atomic. Atomic update. Atomic update author. Okay. So try from author. We have an author error. So let some name equals that. Otherwise, we're missing the name. Self name. Okay. This will be an atomic update author. And I don't need to return anything at all, so we're just going to return a result with nothing in it. All right. Well, this is fairly simple. I want to find the author. Oh, actually, with this one, oh, that will do an upsert if I do it quickly. So I want to find it first. So we're gonna find you first. That's gonna be a author entity find by ID. Hand it the ID. I want 1. I don't care about getting the books. I don't need those. Okay, so if we don't find it, that's fine. We're just going to return okay, like everything was fine. Don't worry about it. You didn't find it. We don't want to like let you know that it didn't exist. I mean, I could return this as a special error, but I think for this case, we're going to just do that. Okay, so now I have the DB author. I want to turn this into an active model. So we're going to shadow it. That gives me an active model. Make that mutable. Now I can do DB author. We want to set the ID we never change, but name we do. So we're going to set this to be author.name. And then we save you. And then we return okay, or it's not okay. Okay, delete an author. I've taken our database connection. We're going to take in an ID. And once again, we're going to return a result with nothing. All right, so I guess we'll find it first. Find by ID, hand it the ID. I don't need the books with it. I just need the one thing. Otherwise, we're going to do an early return of okay. If we did find it, we're then going to just immediately call delete on it. So author dot delete database await question mark. And we're good to go there. did I just I just try to do a write to the terminal. That's fun. Okay, so that's all of these. So that's the author queries. So then we would want book queries probably would be next. We can do book author queries. I don't know if it matters that much. Seneco redeemed Pet the Cat. Yeah, let's pet Zilby. Yeah, he's awake. Hi. I wish I could get him to always face the camera, or like figure out a way to like move the camera around so it face him, face his face. I don't know a good way to do that. Oh, and he's got some purrs too. Okay, well when he starts grooming, that's his way of saying, okay, I'm done being touched. Are you gonna sit up now? Okay. Oh, fine. We're gonna do that. I don't know a good place to put it. Here, maybe? All right, so let's go into book author queries. So we'll take in our database, which is that reference to a database connection. Okay, associate book with author. Now, I have book author, which takes in just the full one. So I can just have something take this in. Goes. And then I don't necessarily need to return anything. So we can just return that. Okay, so an insertion is pretty simple. Oh, we need that active model. So we're going to use Entity book authors. Guess I could just use that. Active model. I want to set those two things on it. So we're going to do book authors, author ID. It's going to be set, which of course you can't find it. It's going to be our book author, author ID. And then we save you. Oh, right, this thing again. So inline that. Ooh, weird. Self. Okay, so maybe I don't want to do this one. Let's try a different one. So we're going to use entity book authors, active model as book author active model. Maybe that will be better. Okay, so I want this to be default. Ooh, so I probably want this one. No, okay. I was really hoping that I could just have this work again, but it doesn't like this. So instead, what I could do is new. I guess that I don't need a default because these are the only two things in here. So that would be fine. And then I save you and you're good to go. Okay. Next up, delete a book author association, which actually I'm not 100% convinced I need to do this, but let's do it anyways. And if the function never ends up getting called, then we'll just remove it later. And this will also be a book author. So first I want to find it. means we need the entity now. We can't do find by ID, so we have to do a find with a filter. With a filter. Oh, I was really hoping that would work. So find, I'm gonna find one. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so I'll just, apparently I needed to manually pull in that trait. Okay. Then, okay, so filter, so I need, I think that's the entity. Maybe it's a little bit hard to tell. So that might be this one too. So let's try this. If I do books author entity. No, I think it might be the model. Let's find it. Oh, it's just straight up in there. So if I do book authors, I want the column. Okay, so column, this will be author ID is equal to book author ID. How did I get a colon in there? I wonder if that was causing my, that's probably what was causing all the issues. Okay, we'll do column book ID is equal. Sorry about that. That was me. Okay. Book ID is equal to book author book ID. Okay, so find the book author that has both the author ID and the book ID. Get one of them. We'll just mess around with that. Give me some. Otherwise, just going to do an early return. Okay, so if we have that one, then I want to return, then I want to run the delete on it. And that's it. Okay. So next up would be book queries. We have 5 of these to write, and I have less than 40 minutes to do so. What do we think? Do we think we can do that? All right, insert book. We're going to take in the database. And a book to insert. So we need to go find that. Okay, so we'll have an insert book. This will have, I guess we need pub on these. We don't need the ID. We need the name. That has to be a string. Let's just say we have to have all of these things, maybe? Hold on. Oh yeah, I have to have all of these things. Okay, good to know. So pub price 32 in stock. Boolean. And I don't need authors. So this is all I need. So I need to impl from. Oh, this will be the try from. And then we'll have that error that we have for the model, it's going to be pretty much the same here, isn't it? We're just missing a specific thing. So instead of creating 2, I want to, at this point, sort of follow my supple design idea. Let's take this author error, and we're going to change this because we're only missing, like, we could just change this to be missing field. So let's delete you. Head into models mod and put it in here. And so instead of author error, this will become models error. This could be just missing field. That. Okay, author. I know you're gonna be really upset. That's gonna be fine. We're gonna fix you. So first of all, anywhere where we have, let's use models error. And anywhere we have author error, we want to change that with models error. And anywhere we have the missing author field, I want to change that to missing field. And then everything else should be the same, right? Yeah. Okay, and then book, you're going to be the same thing. There'll be a models error. We'll take in a book. OLED. Let some. Okay, so I have all of those. Now we can just return okay self name price in stock. Yuan Cena? Hello. Good morning. How are you doing today? This is not Tmux. I am using a an alternative to Tmux called Zelage. Which is this website right here. It's I like it a lot. It's in some ways it's simpler than Tmux. It's obviously very new. It's still in beta, I believe. And but I like it a lot. Like there's very little configuration that I need to do with Tmux. I did feel that I sort of needed to install some plugins. I did create some like a default, a couple different layouts that I can start with, including the default layout. And but besides that, like by default, I get these things up here and this sort of help down here. Theoretically, multiplayer is included in this. I've never used it before, but if multiple people SSH into the same device, then we all can sort of like attach to the same Zelage instance and see each other's cursors exactly like Google Docs, which I mean sounds amazing, but I haven't ever tried it, and I don't really feel like it's a good idea to like just give chat SSH access to my machines. So I don't really like have anybody else. Maybe when we do courses or something, we can do something with that. But I haven't found a good hack. Exactly. Then everybody hacks in and just starts doing random stuff, which is not something I want to do. Hi, did I wake you up? I'm sorry. All right. So let's see. That's try from. So I get an insert book. So I want our query, a book queries. So now we're going to have a book, which is going to be an insert book. And we want to return a result with a book. All right, so what do we want to do? First things first, let's create a, I guess we'll just create the new, entity books. Want an active model as book active model. I'm gonna guess I could kind of do this. So this is after I insert it. I don't need any more, so I can shadow this. I'm gonna do an book active model new. Oh, no. Okay. I don't think I can easily do that. So let's do DB book. Oh, wait. No, I can do it. Hold on. I was getting confused at what I want to do. I want to do it like this. So we create you. We'll do default here. And then whatever we want to set up. So ID we're not setting, but name we are. So name is now going to be book dot. So it's going to be set. Book dot name. Price is set. Book dot price. Stock is set. Book dot in stock. Which wait, why are you upset about that? Oh, cannot use a comma after default. Okay, that makes sense. I forgot to pull in error results. Okay, so we have your book. I want to then save this afterwards. Save returns a new thing, or does it not? It kind of does. So I mean, essentially I can just do run save on here and the DB await question mark U. Okay, so I get the active model. Then I want to try into model. Okay, that gives me the model. And then let's see. I guess I could just, I want to into the book from the model. That's the next thing. Which I already have. I have a reference one here. That could work, or I could duplicate you and do it for the full one. Is there something in Rust that I could do where it's like handle both of them? I don't think so, right? I have to manually do this for both. I think the only change is I don't need that clone. Okay, so if I do that, now try into model, so we get that book. I'll do an okay, book that into. Okay, so you're happy. Function defined here. Okay. Oh, I think this is because somewhere else is trying to use this function and it's causing a problem. And so this is part of a stack trace saying, hey, there's a function defined here that's having an issue somewhere else. And that's fine. Okay, so let's see, created next step, book by ID. We'll take in the database connection and the ID. Now this one I want the entity, don't I? Okay, so we're going to find by ID. Right, this is also going to give us an option, isn't it? And it's going to be books, isn't it? Because of the way things are going to work. Okay, so find by ID, we pass the ID. I want to find with related. So this is going to be the authors. Okay, so find with related the author entity. Give me all of them. DB await. We question mark you. And if you don't find one, then I want to return okay with a none. Mismatch types. Okay, so how is this mismatch type? Expected, struct a vector, entity books model. Oh, right. It's not a sum, it's just a books. So then you end here. And then I want to do let book. This is going to be some books dot first. Okay, find the first book. If you don't have a first book, then we didn't find anything at all. Otherwise, we now have a reference to a model and a vector of book. Okay, so I want to into from this, which means we have to do the same thing we did here. It's a reference to the beginning of the tuple. Okay, so this is the book model, and then a vector of author model, which apparently I don't have. Okay, so impl from Do that for book. All right. Some of these I think are going to be simple. Are you done down here? Are you done here, Sylvie? Oh, I have some food down below. So that's... No? Okay, never mind. All right, so we wanted to return a self. ID is going to be... Right, so I want to change this to be, we have a book, and we have authors. So I want a book.id. Oh, but it's some. We have a name. There's going to be some book.name. Oh, and this one, we have to clone you. We have to clone you. Berserkin, hello. Good morning. What Rust database library do I prefer? I don't know if I have... Well, so CORM is the only one that I've really used, like to any like real degree. So therefore, by default, it wins. That being said, I've heard really good things about SQLX. And so that would be probably the next thing I would check out. I think there's another one, but I forget what it's called. There's also CQL. So in case you don't want to use the full ORM, you can use just the query library for SQL. Oh, Diesel, that's right. I've used Diesel in the past too. I like CORM more than Diesel. That being said, I haven't used Diesel and I've heard they've updated and changed a lot. So it's on my list to check out, but probably after SQLX. Asitsu, you're still on Tokyo Postgres. Is that just like the native, like you're just doing everything yourself? Integration? So like that's, so basically we have like three levels of abstraction here. So we have like just the driver itself, in which case you could just write all the queries on your own and you're good to go. That would be something like Tokyo Postgres. Then we have like SQLX and CQL. That would be for something a little bit higher level, a little bit more abstracted than just the driver. But again, not an ORM. So you're still writing queries. And then finally CORM and Diesel. And so on the ORM side, CORM, don't know on the other two levels yet. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, and then we have authors. So authors, I want some authors, which means we need to set this up here. So I want to change you around a little bit. So we're going to authors, we're going to get an iterator, and we're going to map with an into, and collect you. And do that. And then you don't have... Not satisfied for this, right? Right, because it's a... So models author. So I have impl from author model, but not the other way around. What? No. Ooh. Ooh. Impl from, and this will be a reference to author model, and then I think the only thing here would be you're going to be a clone you. Okay. And then you should be happy. As with everything, you have your own APIs on top of everything. Now you see why you have 20 plus crates to publish everything instead of relying on an existing crate. Ah, okay. I get it. For me, I'm the type of person who was like, yeah, whatever. I'll just have a billion different crates, like third-party crates being installed. Which, talking about that, did you all see the new crate created by the Rust Foundation or project or whatever? Is that on their blog? It's like Rust. Yeah, wrestling.org. I think it's on their blog, right? Maybe not. Oh, they didn't. Okay, so they didn't put out here. There's a new crate from the Rust security team that I forget what it's called. It would have been nice if they had like blog added it as the blog. I don't think they have it listed here, which is unfortunate. But what it does, where's their, okay, so they have their blog, they have their, wait, do they, oh, is it the security working group? Secure code working group? Which you don't have like your own blog or anything, which is too bad. Okay, well, never mind. I thought it was gonna be easy for me to find this, but apparently not. Also, I didn't think that I was gonna need to inside RestRock was in there. No. Okay. Never mind. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a tool that you can use to visualize all the crates, like all the crates being pulled in by your project. So Asitsu, you'll write your stuff and be very happy to see only your crates or very few other crates being used because you wrote all those things yourself. For me, it'll be like this like giant balloon filled playhouse of crates. Where's their Twitter? I thought they tweeted it, didn't they? Or X'd it or whatever it's called now. Where's the... Oh, it's been a long... Okay, was it the foundation? No. Okay, that's... Okay, fine. I have no... I don't remember where I found this. Yeah, it was a visualization of all of the crates being pulled in and their relationships to each other. It was like a graphical visualization of that. Hold on, let me try like an actual Google search for it. It was Rust Lang. It was like security group, crate, visualize something. Okay, not that one. I guess like it showed up on my phone and I looked on there because I have Twitter, X, whatever installed there, and so I got the push notification. And then I didn't write it down because I was like, oh, I'll be able to find this again easily on the blog. And of course, it's not on the blog because why would it be? And everything that I'm seeing is like really old. So I'm not sure how to find it anymore. So sorry about that. I'll probably find it later. But yeah, it was supposed to be like an official visualization of the cargo tree, which would be really nice. Like there's a lot of like unofficial ones that are doing it, but this is one from coming out of the Rust security group. Which is great. We need more stuff coming out of those groups. As far as I'm concerned. Hairdrim, hello, good morning. It uses .graphviz something. It looked very similar to that. Like it looked like it was one of those, like sort of classic GraphViz outputs. I just don't remember the name of the project. And of course, it's been long enough now that it's not going to show up on the front page anymore as like a new project. And I don't want to go and just look through Crates.io as like new releases because it might not even be new release. It was just newly announced. All right, and that gives us get book by ID as done. Okay, so we have updated or recreated. query. Someday I want to like set some kind of like message for myself up for what to do next. I've looked into Git messages. I don't know if it's like a plugin or a module or something I have to install for it. But that would be really nice if I can have a little bit of metadata associated with the Git repo. I don't even need it to be on GitHub. It could just be local here, that I can write myself a message that's not in the code and not in a full commit of like what the next thing I'm going to work on or what I'm currently working on is. Like a sub part of this rewrite. Like, okay, I'm doing the rewrite. That's great, but I'm doing a rewrite of this specific file. That's what I really want here. Keep on doing that where I do like Control W in the in a terminal window, and that doesn't do what I want it to do. All right, so it's 8:43, which means it's time for me to get ready for work. So thank you everybody for hanging out today. We got a lot done. We were able to get most of these queries rewritten, and we also had some other good discussions. So tomorrow is Wednesday, which means it's the day that I go into work. I still stream, but it's a really like limited stream. So I'll start at around 6 a.m. Mountain Time, and I'll end around like 45 minutes later. So it's a very short stream, but we'll probably get like the rest of these queries done for it. So with that, thank you everybody for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Bye.